The flashbomb was, and probably still is, Hunt's most controversial consumable. I have played Hunt for quite some time, and I can't think of another consumable that's had this level of notoriety where it was so universally hated yet widely used. And when it was finally nerfed, it basically went extinct overnight. There was a time when flashbombs were practically a staple in every loadout, and the reason was simple. They broke the normal rules of Hunt. And unlike every other throwable, flashbombs had no wind-up animation. You pulled one out, clicked, and it was already flying. There was no warning, no loud fuse, no cooking animation, just immediate deployment. And that is the reason they became so incredibly dangerous and so incredibly hated. If your opponent was fully flashed, they were blinded for 5 seconds. And 5 seconds doesn't sound like much, but in Hunt, when your shot placement counts, your positioning counts, and every second matters, those 5 seconds become an eternity. Now, that would be one thing, but to make the flashbomb even stronger, it gave the player who threw it a hit marker telling them that their opponent was flashed. So now they knew guaranteed that they could push that corner and not have any resistance. And that's really where the frustration starts. Because it wasn't just that the flashbombs were powerful, but it was that they had almost no counterplay. There was no trait to protect against it, and there was no sound for it either. Whereas every other consume in Hunt gives you some sort of warning. Dark Dynamite satchels have a constant audio that they give off. Dynamite has a sizzle crackle whenever you ignite the fuse. Molotovs have a hiss when you're holding it. Even poison and choke bombs telegraph where they are by leaving a very distinct visual cloud effect. Flashbombs didn't have any of that. You'd hear a small pop and your screen would go white. And there was nothing much that you could do other than sit in your corner and wait for death. And to make it worse, the flash itself was incredibly forgiving. You didn't need to be looking directly at it. It didn't need to land directly on you. Sometimes it felt like you were being punished for being in the same room as where the flash bomb landed to get blinded. So when you take all these aspects of about the flash bomb and you combine them together, it's easy to understand why flash bombs became one of the most frustrated and feared consumes in the game. Ask any Hunt veteran and they'll probably have at least one horror story involving these things. So, as this was happening within the Bayou, Crytek had a decision to make. They could alienate their player base and take the normal Crytek route of everything is perfectly fine, there's no war and bossing say, or they could step in and they could change flash bombs. They could nerf them, they could rework them, they could do something so that the player base would feel better about dying to them. Because right now, deaths felt unearned. And no, they didn't decide everything was perfectly balanced and they shouldn't touch anything. In this one instance, Crytek made a good decision. They changed flash bombs. I think the biggest change was adding a lengthy wind-up animation before you could throw the flash bomb. Suddenly, opponents had time to react. They could hear you prepping the flash bomb and reposition, push out and pressure you, or simply just back away before the flash bomb ever left your hand. And that one change fundamentally changed how everyone used flash bombs. Crytek also took the initiative and buffed Bulwark, which Bulwark used to just minimize the damage done by explosives, but with this buff, it dramatically reduced the effectiveness of flash bombs against players. So, effectively, if you had Bulwark and someone threw a flash bomb at you, you were immune to the flash. And with those two changes, it made flash bombs completely inconsistent. And almost overnight, they disappeared from everyone's loadout. Players began replacing them with extra healing, frag bombs, dynamite bundles, or another consumable that offered much more reliable value. And today, it's genuinely uncommon, if not rare, to see a flash bomb at all. So, are flash bombs really usable, or are they as unusable as everyone says? Well, after spending the last 2 weeks running nothing but flash bombs, I'd say no, but I also don't think they're nearly as strong as they once were. Going into this experiment, I honestly expected to prove everyone wrong. I figured players wrote them off way too quickly, and that with a little creativity and some effort, they would still be fairly strong. And instead, I came away with a very different, I guess, result. See, flashbombs have their moments, but I consistently kept running into the same problem over and over and over again. By the time I found myself in a position where I could use a flashbomb, I kept also realizing that it would have just been more effective and better for me to throw a dynamite bundle or frag bomb rather than trying to push with the flash. And ultimately, that difference is consistency. Flash bombs still require you to capitalize on the blind. You still have to successfully push and win the gunfight, and hope nothing else goes wrong. A frag bomb or dynamite bundle can force your opponent out of cover, deny them space, or just outright kill them. There's simply less room for things to go wrong when you're using those consumes. Flash bombs require you to hope that a bunch of things don't go wrong when you push around that corner. Now, that doesn't mean that the flash bomb's bad, it just means that it's situational. And I found that running Surefoot with the flash bomb was surprisingly effective because I could start the windup well before I reached anywhere I wanted to throw it. So it gave the enemy less audio cues to react to the flash bomb, as well as less time to react to it in general. And that alone felt incredibly satisfying. But again, those moments were the exception. They weren't the rule. So why aren't flash bombs used? I think the reason for that kind of boils down to Hunt itself. See, over the years, Hunt has changed. It's evolved. And we've moved past the flash bombs' glory days. Players rotate faster. They push more aggressively. They take fights much more aggressively. They take space faster. The fights evolve faster than what the flash bomb can provide value for. And that faster pace makes landing like the perfect flash bomb much more difficult, as well as, more importantly, capitalizing on the very few flashes that you have landed. So, are they unusable? No. They're still capable of winning fights, and they're still capable of bringing you value, but after spending 2 weeks with them, I understand why so many players stopped bringing them. They've gone from being one of Hunt's strongest consumes to being one of its most situational. I found that more often than not, I would have rather had a different consume to accomplish the same goal. That being said, I'm still glad I gave them another chance. They're genuinely fun to use. And pulling off the perfect flash is still incredibly satisfying and incredibly rewarding. Even if I don't get the perfect flash, just blinding someone in general and watching them go is still absolutely hilarious. I don't think they'll make a permanent return to my loadout, but every now and then I can definitely see myself bringing one just for those moments when everything falls into place. If you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments what other Hunt consume or tool that you think had a rise and fall just as dramatic as the flash bomb. And don't all of you say flashlight. Yes, I know, I miss the flashlight too, and I want them to make it come back. But anyways, as always, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, stay safe, stay hydrated, and much love.
Watch me as I take off.